Hi everybody and welcome to this installment of mini lessons for the Belltone Brass Teaching Studio. I'm Shawn Bell and today we're coming from the outside. It's a beautiful day, so I thought I'd come do a little bit of playing outside, and we're going to talk about developing a daily routine and warming up. This is a crucial thing for brass players, really for all musicians, but I know it affects brass players and wind players heavily. So we're going to talk about that today and talk about some concepts that I think are important for that type of stuff. So first of all, there are two reasons we want to do this warm-up daily routine. Number one, we want to think about warming up your facial muscles. If you're going straight from your case to your face to play, you're probably not going to have the best success as a player. You need to do a few kind of easy exercises to get the facial muscles working. The second reason we want to do this daily routine is to address our overall brass playing health and ability. By doing this consistently, over time, you can actually improve your playing a lot. Even though it's only maybe 10 to 15 minutes, it's probably the 10 to 15 minutes that are the most important in your practice routine. So a few concepts that I think are really important and usually guide me in organizing the exercises that I practice. First of all, I don't like to spend too much time on this. Even though it's extremely important, this should all happen within about 10 to 15 minutes of your practice time. After that, you're really into practicing. You're not warming up anymore. So make sure that you really try to organize the practice that this can happen in a relatively condensed time frame so you can get to practicing music. The next thing we want to think about is making sure that this warm-up routine can happen every single day that you play. Now, this means that whether you have a rehearsal, a practice session, maybe I often am teaching lessons, no matter what happens as the first playing thing in my day, I can always do this warm-up routine and make sure that my face is feeling good to encounter whatever playing situation I have. The last thing is I don't like to make it too difficult. It should be easy. Again, thinking that I'm going to do this in a lot of different playing settings, I want to be able to do something at home, maybe right before a lesson in a practice room, at rehearsal, maybe where other musicians are listening. I don't want to be playing a bunch of difficult exercises that is A, going to annoy them, or B, I might feel a little self-conscious about playing because I can't play them very well. So keep it simple and things that you can do consistently. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do, and I think most brass players would say the same, is do a few long tones to get warmed up. When I talk about long tones, I mean I'm simply going to take a breath and blow through my instrument. And I'm really just focusing on a good breath, nice and relaxed, getting the embouchure formed up and creating a sound. I almost don't even care if the sound is really that good. You might get, some kind of bad sounds, bad attacks. I kind of snuck into that note. Maybe I chipped it a little bit at the beginning. These are the first notes I'm playing for the day, so I'm not so concerned with the sound being totally pristine. What I'm concerned about is a big breath that's nice and relaxed, and then just doing the best I can to create the best sound that I can pretty much straight out of the case. As long as I do those things, I know that the long tones are moving in the right direction. Okay, so we did our long tones. The next thing is usually some lip flexibility, or what we call lip slurs. And again, I'm going to focus on good breathing, but instead of just playing one note, I'm going to move between a few different partials on the instrument. The final bit of my warm-up routine is usually just something different. It might be breathing, it might be pedal tones, it might be mouthpiece buzzing, just any of the other exercises that I feel address a little niche of my playing that is not going so well. Maybe if my tone is feeling a little bit thin, I might do a few pedal tones. If I'm feeling like my breathing is uptight, maybe I just do 1 or 2 breathing exercises, but something else. Okay, the last thing I want to leave you guys with today is 2 things. Number 1, I think it's very important not to get too locked in to one way of warming up. There are tons of different exercises for long tones, lip slurs, all these other exercises you might do as kind of the something else category. It's important not to get too locked in. I want to be constantly addressing the different problems that I have as a player, which might mean every 6 weeks to 2 months, I totally change my warm-up routine and do some different stuff just to make sure I'm addressing all the aspects of playing. The very last thing is this warm-up routine can happen at the beginning of your playing. It's also great to happen at the end of your playing. Doing a little bit of a warm down will make you feel better the next day when you have to play. I've been doing a warm down consistently probably for the last 10 years. And I really notice on the days where I don't get it in. Sometimes I can't just for a variety of reasons, and when I don't, I really notice a difference in my playing the next day. It's important to get kind of those muscles relaxed, maybe some extra long tones, an easy lip slur at the end of a practice session or a performance in order to feel better the next day. All right, guys, well, that's a little bit about my approach to the daily routine, warming up. So I hope that helped you in your own practice to think about these concepts. Really important as a brass player to get this stuff right. It's probably the most important 10 to 15 minutes you can spend in your practice. So I hope you'll subscribe to the YouTube channel and check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Belltone Brass, or check out my website at ShawnBellMusic.com.